you go down here, where they built the Dome of the Rock, it is inside here. So you can see inside the same rock of Abraham, all the way down where it is today. We understand that? The sequence? Okay. And now we'll talk about the thing that we see behind me. We'll try to identify them for you. Cemetery going around the mountain to the west, to the south, and even to the east. It's going around, considered to be from the time of David. But the oldest graves we have are 2,300 that we found. Across the Temple Mount. Why don't you see the Temple Mount? Because the temple, it was like a hill like that. And in order to make this big, Herod the Great wanted to create a flat area. So he filled those places with arches and then closed them with 4 retaining walls in order to achieve this flat area, and on the top he built the temple. We understand. That's why we don't see the temple, the Moriah Mountain. Okay, but so Palm Sunday we can see here 2 churches. The Master has wept church. We'll try to go there. Look like a teardrop. You see it? Jesus shed some trees over there. Behind it, the Golden Onion Church, Russian Church of Mary Magdalene, and below it you can see a line, tree of lines, and you can see the beginning of a triangle. This is the Church of Agony. We're going to be there. Okay, it's Gethsemane. And across the road, another Greek Orthodox church of the first martyr that has been stoned to death, Saint, what was his name? Thank you. Saint families that served in a temple. You know, there were 24 families that used to serve in a temple each period. So some of them discovered down there. They are basically dated to 22 or 2300 years here, because according to Judaism, this is where the first people will be revived when Messiah is coming. That is why I want to bury it here. Now, burial habits today in Jewish society is they don't use no caskets, no coffins. When a dead is prepared for burial, they purify the body with clean linen, incense, and they bring him on a stretcher to the burial site of stone and put it on the top. Within a year, the family has the right to build the memorial that you see here. So all those graves and actually the memorials above the tomb. Inside, try to take a look into this cave on our left-hand side. Burial during Jesus' time, it started with the Second Temple period, after the people returned from Babylonia, and they built this structure in order to protect whatever has been discovered in the cave. As I said, we found hundreds, if not thousands, burial caves around Jerusalem. And each family owned into the cave. They would purify the body, clean it, incense and olive oil first, and then incense and white linen will cover all the body from head to toe. And then they would close the rolling stone. And they would be. This is remains from that period. Okay? Yes, sir.
Did family members do that duty, or was somebody hired to come and
No.
the bones?
Usually family members would do it. Maybe they would hire somebody, we don't know. By the way, if we're talking about Jesus, he was not from Jerusalem. He was from Nazareth. So Joseph de Arimathea, who had recently purchased a newly unused cave, let him bury there. And he purchased yet another one to be buried in. So if we go in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, we still have the 2,000 years old rear chamber of Joseph de Arimathea still there. So hopefully we can see that. Long time. Remember we talked about 613 laws that you have to comply with Judaism? One of them is warning people, do not falsify the weights and the measurement, right? And this is, they used to be made out of limestone. So merchants would have their own because they wanted to make sure that it's not shaved a bit, not falsify your own measurements. So people who would go to purchase goods would have their own scales in the marketplaces. So they didn't want to be cheated. And those were the scales that used by limestone. But when you went to purchase precious stones, pearls, good precious stones, diamonds, etc., you didn't bother with those unprecise weights and measurement. What did they use in ancient time? The seed of this tree. See the seeds? Each one of them weighs 0.2 gram. 5 of them 1 gram. Of every fruit, of every tree, in here, in Greece, in Turkey, India. From the bottom there, farmers usually chopping it off because it takes a lot of energy from the tree. But as I discussed with you, Josephus Flavius writes how Romans cut all the trees, okay, in the year 68 when they sieged the city. So you ask yourself, wait a minute, if this is the case, how come those are 2,000 years old tree? And this is how it is, because olive tree, you chop it, grafts coming out, and continue to live and survive from the original roots down below. Okay, you have it grafted in?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
But if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in among the others and now sharing in the nourishing root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant toward the branches. If you are, remember that it is not you who supported the root, but the root that supports you. Then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. This is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through faith.
A tunnel that goes from there underground, lead us to another cave. That's not a made cave. It's natural, but they enlarge it from the inside. Yeah.
can see him $1. $100.
Reason, census, taxing. Both of them, they were from the house and the lineage of King David. That's why they came here to Bethlehem. Bethlehem, a village of farmers, a village of shepherds. The name of it tells the profession of the people who used to live here. When you think of Bethlehem, you need to think of a very, very small village. 300-400 people, that's it. But because of that occasion, because of the order of the census, the taxing, all the Bethlehemites who were living in the country, they came to Bethlehem for the census, for the taxing. So Mary and Joseph, they came here. Mary was riding a donkey for 1 week, up to 10 days. She's pregnant in her last weeks, 15, 16 years old. Imagine that, riding the donkey from Nazareth to Bethlehem. In Bethlehem, we have a cave. We call it the Milk Grotto. The Milk Grotto. It's a cave where it's believed that Mary fed Jesus and in their way running from Bethlehem to Egypt. She was feeding Jesus. When she was doing that, her milk dripped on the ground and all the cave became white. That's why we call it the Milk Grotto. People from here, the local people, they go to the Milk Grotto, they take blessing from there. They even take the powder, from the cave, from the stone. They take the powder and they put it in small bags and they take it with them with a prayer. And according to the monk over there, it helped people, it helped curing diseases. It's all about faith. It's not a holy magic. Years after the birth of Jesus, the Romans, they took Christianity to be one out of the official religions of the Roman Empire. But in the 4th century, it became the only and official religion of the Roman Empire. And the name changed to be the Byzantine. And it was Emperor Constantine and his mother, Queen Helena, Santa Helena. Santa Helena decided to come to Bethlehem, to Jerusalem, to the Holy Land, doing her pilgrimage and trying to find all the sites that have connection with the life of Jesus. Cross, see, that's where we are. And the church exactly is centered on top of the cave. The entrance to the cave that we will use to go in and to go out from the other side, they are not the original. They were added back in the 12th century to make it easier for pilgrims to go in and out. Even the shape of the cave is not the original. It used to be 10 times bigger than the cave that you'll see in a few minutes when you go down there. We do 3 fingers like that. Why 3 fingers? The Holy Trinity. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. 3 in 1, right? Jesus had the God nature and had the human nature in one person. So these 2 fingers, they go down here to Virgin Mary womb. And then with the God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we do it from right to left. Because we believe that Jesus sat on the right hand of the Father when he was ascended to the heaven. So that's why we do it this way, okay? That's actually, we have something else. We celebrate Christmas on 7th of January because we follow the Julian calendar. That's an official Christmas here. We have 3 Christmases. 25th of December, Gregorian calendar. 7th of January, Julian calendar. 18th of January, Armenian calendar. Same thing also with Easter. 3 Easters, 3 Christmases. I'm not happy with that because okay, it's for the kids, it's fun. But when you have the Muslims, especially, making fun of us, and they say, your Jesus was born 3 times. Your Jesus was crucified 3 times. So that's a thing that nowadays we're calling that all the denominations in here, they unite Christmas according to the 25th of December and Easter according to the Julian calendar. If you go to Greece, if you go to Romania, if you go to Ukraine, they're all Orthodox, but they never celebrate Christmas in January. It's all in December. They agreed that Christmas according to the Gregorian calendar, Easter will be according to the Julian calendar, except here. Each one of the denominations, they believe that they're following the right calendar. And trust me, no one knows exactly when Jesus was born. The 25th of December, it's not the date. 7th of January is not the date. 18th of January also is not the date. Bible says that there were shepherds in the valley, in the fields. So the only time when we have the valleys green is between February until April. That's the only time. So according to some theologians, it's believed that Jesus is a Passover baby. Yes. So please. Okay. The columns, this column behind us, there is 50 of them. 50 of these columns holding the roof of the Nativity. And that's the Bethlehemite marble. Each one of these columns is one piece of stone. one piece, 6 meters, which is 18 feet. And the most important, the 50 columns, which holding the roof of the Nativity, is still standing in the same place from the year 540 AD until our days. When we go outside to the Basilica again, I will show you everything, and I will tell everything in sequence, okay? The angels. Down to the right, you see the angels telling Joseph in a vision, take Mary and Jesus and run away from here, go to Egypt, because King Herod is looking for baby Jesus to kill him. And down to the left, you see Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus riding the donkey. So when you see three of them with the donkey, that's mean the flight to Egypt. When you see Mary and Joseph only on the donkey, that's mean coming from Nazareth to Bethlehem. So the icons, again, considered to be an open colored Bible. The idea came more than 500, 600 years ago to make it easy for people who's not able to read.
That all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem. Picture of the video.
Jesus laid down his sweet head, the stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
Helena, 335 AD, and it was found accidentally back in the year 1930 because of an earthquake. 1930, a small earthquake, earth cracked. Archaeologists back at that time, they wanted to follow where it goes, but they didn't uncover all of that. They just uncovered a small part of it. But a few months ago, the Italians, who took on themselves doing the older renovation and excavation, they uncovered from the edge all the way over there. And I'd like to show you something, which you take a look, see what they're doing. That's behind, but that was yesterday, okay? And that company who's doing all of that is called Piacenti. They're Italians, and they're moving the whole pavement, trying to follow where this mosaic goes. They finished the part here, they still have one back here. And again, that's the oldest, 335 AD. The second oldest will be the columns, the marble columns. They go back to the year 540 AD, and that's the columns. That was the height of it. Crusades came here, Frankish, Europeans. They've done a beautiful renovation, adding another 6 meters and installing the roof up there. And also they've done the mosaic. See the mosaic on the walls? That's 800 years old mosaic, and it's made out of it falling down, especially during the Turkish rule. There was no renovation. They were not giving the permission to the monks and giving even fund to restore and take care of the place. So all the mosaic was falling down. Again, that's a Crusader mosaic. One more thing I'd like to point out, which is the wood that King Solomon used to build the temple out of it. Cedar of Lebanon. We have it here in the church, but it's not the roof. It's the beams on top of the columns. The beams on top of the columns, that's cedar of Lebanon, and it goes back to the 6th century.
Go to the right is a gate. This is the sheep gate, Jesus' time. And you can see behind the sheep gate on the right, 2 water pools with square porticos covered with red tiles. You see that? The pools of Bethesda. We're going to be there as well. You can see on the western, okay, west is, we are facing west, and to the right is north. So you can see the northwestern corner of the Temple Mount. We can see the 4 towers, the fortification, the Antonia Fortress, the place of judgment, station 1 of the Via Dolorosa. We can see the temple. We can see the big courtyard, the court of the Gentiles. Around the temple you can see a low white fence. This is the court of the Jews. Only Jewish people can go beyond that fence. In the front you can see a square in front of the temple. That courtyard is as far as women can go. At the end of it you can see a round staircase. This is where the Levite would stand and blow the trumpets and sing the songs. And then on the top of that there is another gate to go into the inner court of the temple. Inside that inner court only Levite and priest could go. And in the closed doors only priest. And inside they would have a curtain closing also the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant stood on the altar of that rock which is under the dome of the rock again. We got that so far?
Yeah.
Left hand side you can see this long red building, the royal portico built by Herod the Great. The entrance is from the left, from the steps that I showed you. We're going to see those steps soon. The finger sticking to the left is the city of David, where everything began. If you go down the corner there, you can see 2 towers. This is more or less where the spring is. We're going to be there tomorrow morning. Gihon Spring. Now, during Hezekiah time, the city started to spread westward. The flat rooftop houses representing Hezekiah period when people started to spread or live on the western hill, the Zion Hill. Later on, the red rooftop on the top of the hill, richer people, okay, the Sadducees, Hellenic and Roman period. That includes also the palace of Herod the Great. We'll go around and see it from the other side. Very important thing to speak of are the walls of Jerusalem Jesus' time. Walls. From the corner of the temple here, go around the city, around the high ground, and to the other side you can see 3 towers, Jaffa Gate. Come toward here and the wall that goes to the Antonia Fortress. This is the extent of the city Jesus' time. The third wall that you see starting from the other side, going around that right-hand side part, this is what's termed in the New Testament as a desolate place. This wall was built by King Agrippa, 44 AD, 12 or 13 years after crucifixion, which means this is a desolate place. There was no walls. It is important to describe the place of crucifixion later on, because crucifixion was taking place outside of the city limit, through the condemnation gate in a desolate area, and that is a desolate area. Okay? It's cold enough. This is an archway. See that archway? There is a street going along the western wall, and it goes also below that other arch, Wilson Arch. Okay? Wilson Arch, you can see there is a bridge going from the Jaffa Gate where you see the 3 towers. This bridge allowed pedestrians to walk from the high ground straight into the temple courtyard, and it also brought water. Herod the Great built a water aqueduct, bringing fresh water from far away as beyond Bethlehem, from springs water. So we can see here once again Kidron Valley, Hell's Valley, and you can see in the middle Central Valley, we call it, low ravine with little bridges. You see that? Toward us you can see a little water pool. You see that pool? For years we didn't know where the pool of Siloam is, and they put it here. Recently, about 8-9 years ago, it has been discovered, and it is not there. It's way down below, outside of the model, where the valley is, We'll see. We'll be there tomorrow. We'll speak about it. Okay, you can see a theater. Everybody see the theater? And then straight ahead. And it was outside of the city limit, as described. Right now, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is on it. It's the heart of the Christian quarter. Now, you know there's a dispute about this. There's another place we're going to be, the Garden Tomb, the Golden Tomb, other Calvary. Where is that? If you walk along the inner wall, there you can see this white road. On the right road, in the beginning, you can see 2 towers. Let's suppose the procession, in the other case, a place which is preferred by the Protestants, the procession coming from the Antonia Fortress, not coming toward us, but going a bit to the right, and getting on between the two towers next to this white road. Everybody see the white road? Go with the white road. At a certain stage, it varies to the right, turns to the right. Everybody see that? At that right turn, there is a elbow. Look left of the elbow of the road, there is a cliffside. That is